Welcome to the ALBA Party Weekly podcast. And we're outside the Palace of Westminster for a good reason, because this is a video about power and where power lies. And there's been two examples of it this week which should concentrate the mind of every ALBA activist, indeed every Scot, however defined. The first was the inspired leak to the Times, suggesting that the Westminster government were planning to extend the franchise of any future Scottish referendum to include Scots in England. Sounds quite benign, it sounds even inclusive. What they're doing is trying to rig the ballot. We had all this back in 2012, 2013, court challenges. And what was decided then was to have a franchise which was based on residents, based on the people who invested their lives and their families in Scotland. And that couldn't be fairer. Trying to extend it to people that the Westminster government think will vote for them against independence is a blatant attempt at ballot rigging and should be resisted. And the second example was Michael Gove himself in an interview saying that there's not going to be any referendum till after 2024 because they have a mandate in Westminster to resist any such referendum. Never mind the overwhelming Scottish mandate, the SNP MPs elected to get a referendum, just the British mandate on 40+% of the vote they're going to dictate. Now let's think about this internationally. Way back, if we can remember, were people in the old Soviet Union who said to the Baltic states that any decision on a referendum should be taken not by Latvia, Lithuania or Estonia, but by the whole of the Soviet Union. There has never been an example in world history of a country seeking independence having to get the permission of another country's parliament to seek that independence. The whole concept of national self-determination means exactly that nations have the right of self-determination. And British Prime Minister after British Prime Minister, Harold Wilson, Margaret Thatcher, accepted that concept, but not Michael Gove. So two examples in 1 week of how Westminster is plotting and planning to thwart the Scots, to put down these pesky people who want and seek Scottish independence, and not doing it democratically, doing it by chicanery, by trying to rig the ballot, by exercising power. And the question for Scotland, and not just for ALBA, is what are we going to do about it? Because by the look of it, precious little. While Westminster are preparing and laying their plans and the groundwork to rig the ballot, the Scottish Government seems to be doing nothing at all. Having discussions about discussions and saying they'll seek a referendum at some time after the pandemic. Exactly what ALBA warned about in the Scottish election campaign is coming to pass. And that's why this autumn, at the ALBA conference in Greenock, there'll be a stand made by those attending, broadcasting to the whole of Scotland, that it's time to force the Scottish issue now, to exercise the mandate from the Scottish people to assert a right of self-determination and not have Michael Gove or anyone else from this place behind me dictating how Scotland is governed. And if we do that, become a founding member before the end of June, then come this autumn, ALBA will make its impact on the Scottish political landscape and avoid the situation where the big decisions about Scotland are exercised by the Parliament behind me, and bring about the position where the big decisions about our future are made by the Scottish people.